What happens when you leave a basket of Easter eggs out in the woods for nature to find? Let's find out. 1 week ago, we placed 18 colored Easter eggs in this basket, and we hung it from this tree. You can see it's slightly elevated off the ground here, and this is what remains. There's broken eggshells everywhere. We had treats inside of these Easter eggs, and it is just a complete massacre now. We had this trail camera over it. Let's review the footage and see what was here. So the plastic colored Easter eggs on the ground were filled with dog and cat food. However, the basket that you can see hanging from the rope was filled with hard-boiled Easter eggs. With the current cost of eggs, this was no cheap experiment, but it was definitely interesting to see how nature interacted with the Easter basket. So as you can see, it did not take nature long to find the Easter basket placed out in the woods. At first, they seemed a little leery to commit and come in and eat any of their eggs, but as time goes on, they get more comfortable and they definitely started chowing down. This raccoon here seems to have found that if he breaks open those plastic eggs on the ground, they're filled with dog food, and you can see him picking up pieces of dog food off the ground and starting to eat those first. As the video progresses, keep an eye on the bottom right hand corner of your screen. The date and time and temperature is correct, and it's interesting to see how often the animals come back and forth to the Easter egg basket. Now this is where things start to get fun. The raccoons realize that the inside the basket are real eggs that they can eat. We elevated it off the ground like this, thinking that it would make it a little more of a challenge for the raccoons to get, but still definitely fun and playful for them to interact with. I can only imagine the excitement going through these raccoons' minds as they've realized they have found an entire Easter basket in the woods of treats for them to eat. I think the raccoons really enjoyed the elevated basket, and it seemed to give them a little bit of a challenge too, whereas they couldn't just reach in and pull out an egg. They kind of had to stand on their back legs and reach forward with their front paws and as well use their mouth to try to get a hold of the eggs. And around 9:30 on night 2, the raccoons started showing back up for their evening feast. As time goes on, I think it's interesting to see the amount of eggs left in the basket and the amount of eggshells that are strewn about on the ground beneath it. Although we've only had raccoons that visit the Easter basket so far, stay tuned because we have some different visitors coming up that might surprise you. In this video, the raccoons actually get scared off of the Easter basket by what I'm assuming is a dog barking in the distance if you listen carefully. But just a few hours later, they came right back and continued on. In this daytime shot here the next morning, you can see a gray squirrel in the background, but it's quite interesting to see all the broken eggshells on the ground from the left side of the frame all the way to the right side of the frame. That evening, the basket raiders are back and they're rooting around in the bottom of that Easter basket again to see what else they can find. The visitor in this next clip is not something that I expected to see stopping by the Easter basket, and although he didn't stick around long, he definitely seemed to be curious of what was going on in the area. That is a giant porcupine. And just 5 minutes later after that porcupine ran off, there's a raccoon there, so I have to wonder if the porcupine possibly wasn't scared off by the raccoons passing through the area. This guy here was swinging all around the basket to try to reach down in there and get a hold of his next egg. And again here in this next clip is another new visitor, and this is a possum. Now this possum did seem to hang around for a little bit. I'm not sure he could reach up into the basket, but he was definitely picking up some egg scraps that were left on the grounds from the raccoons. I couldn't help but chuckle at this next clip as it almost looks like this raccoon is caught red-handed and he takes off running because he knows he's guilty. I think it's always super interesting to watch how raccoons use their front paws, and here you can see this one playing with a plastic egg, and then he actually reaches down and picks up a real egg, and he turns around and runs away with it. Later, the possum's back, and he looks pretty inquisitive of the basket, but once again, he just can't quite reach up into it to see what's going on up inside of there. And if you guys like this type of content, you'll have to check out the video we just posted a few days ago of another Easter egg pile we placed in the woods with some different visitors at this one. If you guys could give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, that really helps us out, and it'll ensure that we can continue making videos like this for you to enjoy in the future. Thanks for watching, guys.